You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. What's good? I know it's been a while since I uploaded. However, I thought it was very imperative that I spoke on this particular subject because it does pertain to predominantly black women. And this is not to say that there's not other races of women that are also embracing this thought culture or ratchet culture here thereof, but my main emphasis is on black women because unfortunately we're the ones that are targeted the most, and we are the ones that seem to be getting the most flack, and we're standing out more when it comes to us participating in ratchet culture and behaving with ratchet mannerisms. So nevertheless, I wanted to break this down and clarify some things as to why I think so many women are embracing the ratchet culture or thought culture, but we'll keep it simple, so I'll just say the ratchet culture. So I'm going to be breaking down the different elements that are contributing to why so many black women are embracing the ratchet culture. And as y'all already know, it has become very toxic, and it's spreading like the pandemic. And we're seeing it play out everywhere. We're seeing it play out, first of all, on social media. Social media is the biggest foundation of where the ratchet culture started. But even before that, if we go way back, when it came to television, when these rap artists, like 2 Live Crew and West Coast rappers, started putting out a lot of these videos with women degrading themselves, so it's basically kind of started from there, in which women were willing to expose themselves to basically exploit their bodies just so they could become video vixens, and it just kind of went left from there. But that won't be the only thing that was the cause of the ratchet culture developing for black women. So first off, let's definitely start diving in a little bit as to the foundation of what was the causes, what was the main basic elements that has resorted a lot of black women into even becoming so obsessed with the ratchet culture. And I'll say one of the biggest things is that there's single parent homes. And let me be very clear when I say single parent homes. You know that you can have 2 parents in a home and it still be single parenting. And what I mean by that is, yes, a mother and a father can be in that house, because I'm hearing a lot of these manosphere guys, a lot of these, male content creators that automatically want to assume that a single parent household is specifically just a black woman raising 5, 6 badass kids living in low income housing, and she has absolutely no control over being able to discipline them. I beg to differ, even though that is one factor, but let's also keep in mind that some households, especially when it comes to the stigma that it's a woman's job versus a man's job. And let's face it, back during the 50s and the 60s, that was the attitude that, women are supposed to take care of the children while the man goes out and works and provide, okay? Which was not necessarily a bad thing, because that meant there was at least one parent home that was making sure the children was getting structure. Unlike today, both parents have to work, so no parents are home to make sure that the children are being structured. However, it was this sexist attitude that it was automatically the woman's job, to nurture and take care of the children, while the men just basically went out, worked, and provided for the children. So keep in mind, we have these single parent households, meaning you can have a mother and a father there. But if the father has this sexist attitude where all I have to do is work and bring home the bacon, he feels like as soon as he comes home, he does not have to do anything else. If the kids come up to him after he's been working these long, gruesome shifts, 12, 16 hours, and he's just coming home and walking through the door, kids, are running up to him, hey daddy, blah, 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 hyper and, excited to see their dad, not understanding that dad is overwhelmed. He has been working 12, 16 hours. He just wants to come home to eat, sleep, and have some peace. And this has put a lot of pressures on the women having to be the primary parent. So, like I said, this is just some exceptions to the rules. I'm not saying this is the case with every household and every family structure. You do have some men that are very hands-on. My stepdad was a hands-on father. He did cook and he did actually help with homework. He did not leave that on my stepmother to do just because she's a woman. At the time when my mom was financially going through a hardship, instead of asking for child support, my mother decided to let me go stay with my father and his wife at the time until she got on her feet. Unlike women today, they don't mind if they're struggling. They rather get the child support even though they know the child would be in a better position to be with the father who has the money, who has the shelter, who is in a better adequate position to raise a child. My mom didn't want that. She wanted us to actually be with my father until she got on her feet. So that is how I ended up being with my dad instead of my mom just wanting a child support increase. So nevertheless, he was a hands-on father. So I will not push that narrative that there are black men who have this mindset that it's only a woman's job to be the nurturer and to take care of the children, because I don't believe that, because I was raised in a household with a black man who did not have those sexist narratives and did not think that it was just a woman's job. So I don't have that type of narrative, unlike a lot of women who have not been exposed to men who are hands-on with their children, and for women who don't have the best of relationship with their child's father, they may see different, being that they have adopted this deadbeat mentality. But I beg to differ that not all black men are deadbeats. A lot of them are very much hands-on with their children. So with that, you've had a lot of these households that was single parent households, either because the mother did not make the best of choices in who she chose to breed her children from. We got a lot of women, let's face it, a lot of these content creators today want to keep blaming just modern women of today. But the truth is, it pretty much kind of started way back when. It didn't just start today. The problem is, because of social media is exposing more of the modern women who seem to have issues with structure and family, when the truth is there's been an issue since the 70s and the 80s, way before the modern women were born and brought into this world. It's ratchetness been going on, okay? I've been watching some old documentaries from the 70s and the 80s, and when I say it is so strange, and if I find out those videos, y'all, I will post it to the link. I was watching documentaries. I think it's Hezekiah News. He posts a lot of content about things within the black community from the 70s and the 80s. And what I like about it, he uploads authentic content to where you can tell it was really back from the 70s and 80s, like VHS, bad quality footage, because we didn't have the best of cameras and we didn't have no iPhones and all of that back then. But what I love about it is authentically recorded from people within that era, black people within that era, who has shown that they are a good part of the reason why the generation has the mindset that they have today. So anyway, I was watching documentaries on black women back then who prostituted for pimps. And I also watched a documentary on black women raising their children in low income housing. And when I tell you the mindset back then is just as terrible as it is today, it will make a lot of sense to you. But a lot of these guys don't understand that because they're so busy focusing on what women are doing today and what they see today because of Instagram, Facebook, social media. But truth be told, this been going on, and what it is just a generational curse that keeps repeating itself. Your great grandmother didn't teach your great great grandmother didn't teach your your great great grandmother didn't teach your great grandmother, who didn't teach your grandmother, who didn't teach your mother, who didn't teach you, and now you can't teach your children. It's just history, a demonic generational curse that continuously just keeps repeating itself, and only women who are inclined and who are well aware of the struggles of black women, only they are the ones that's taking it serious, and they are doing everything they can in their power to make sure that their daughters and their great granddaughters do not adopt those same hood rat shenanigans mentality. So only women who are woke, only women who are educated and are not in denial about the dysfunction that they have been raised in and have been learned to accept as tradition. Only women who are woke are not comfortable with repeating that cycle, the wash, rinse, repeat. They are not in denial. They know there was dysfunction coming from their black mothers. They know there was dysfunction coming from their black fathers, and they're not in the business of repeating it so their daughters and granddaughters and grandsons and vice versa can all end up reliving and repeating those same generational curses. So going back, when I talk about family structure, you have these single parent households. Either there was a single mother, like I said, with the documentaries in which I watched, who unfortunately was born and raised in poverty. And when I was watching these documentaries, it was very disturbing to see that a lot of these women during the 70s and 80s had a lot of the same ratchet philosophies as women do today. Now, the only difference back then was they were not on social media. They didn't have access to technology where they could exploit themselves and make it seem as obvious. But truth be told, a lot of women are the way that they are because of the type of dysfunctional principalities and morals that was passed down from their great 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 grandmother, aunts, sisters, other black women within the family tree who have passed down these same moral behavior and lack of values. Okay, and what has happened is now it has become full force. And again, a lot of these men are blaming only modern women today, but it all started way back before a lot of us got here. Like I said, only women who are woke and who are not in denial about dysfunction, these are the women who are ensuring that their daughters go to college, ensuring that their daughters are making better decisions. They are raising them with a different mindset, with different morals compared to the morals in which they were raised and they were taught, because they saw how much it has affected their lives from their childhood and transition into their womanhood. And again, if they are woke, they will make all necessary steps in order to ensure that these generational curses for their daughters and sons don't continue, so forth. So, going back to the family structure. I know I keep saying that and I keep digressing and going other places. Going back to family structure. Single parent households. You had women back then who were prostituting. You had women back then who was also very promiscuous. Now, in this terms, I'm speaking with single mother households, meaning no man at all was involved, okay? Either no man was involved because she was smashing every Tom, Dick, and Harry, which meant she was never wife material, never had a husband. That could be one type of situation, or either she was in a relationship, but she probably dealt with a man that was not really a man, couldn't handle the responsibilities, couldn't handle the bills. Back then, you had a lot of black men who struggled to be able to provide for their families because there was a lot of racism that occurred, so they wasn't given the same opportunities as men of other races. Now, you did have some men that were strong enough to stay and hang in there and overcome it and stick with their black women, stick with their black wives, no matter what, no matter the struggles, no matter the hardships. And you had others who took the coward way out. They abandoned their families. So we can't push this narrative that all single mothers are just single mothers because they're irresponsible. Yes, you have a lot of them who are, but in some cases they did have all their children from this one particular man who they trusted and believed would do right by them and provide for them. She wasn't going around being promiscuous, smashing multiple men, just with the same stable relationship with the man who did not want to stand up and be a man through it, and it left her having to be a single mother. So there's going to be some exceptions to the rules. I get it. Everybody, some women are a single mother by default, and truth is, a lot of them are not by default. A lot of them have made very poor decisions, being promiscuous, and just immoral behavior. You know, let's face it, women back in the 60s and 70s, they wasn't squeaky clean Christian church going women. Okay? Everybody wants to focus on modern women, but let's face it, during the 60s or the 70s, a lot of y'all don't want to admit it. You heard some stories about your grandmother. You heard some stories about your great-great-grandmother. You got uncles and aunts that live in all kind of states who you know wasn't a sibling through marriage. And let's not make no mistake. A lot of the black men back then were no better either. They were very promiscuous as well. The only difference was back then child support did not exist. So Mr. Willie could get away with smashing Brenda, Leola, Nora, and Betty Mae. Okay, Mr. Willie was able to get away with all of that and then some. Okay, unlike today, the child support system shut all of that down. If you smash multiple women, hey, guess what? Child support gonna be smashing your pockets. It is what it is. So let's not make it seem like only modern women and modern men had these issues as of today. This been going on. Papa was a Rolling Stone, okay? Wherever he laid his hat was his home, all right? And before Mama Pearl got saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, this the grandmother y'all see today. But if you knew how Miss Lillian was back in the 60s or 70s, you would not believe the same woman who preaches to you about the Bible, who preaches to you about the scripture, who goes to every Bible study, who goes to every Sunday, every pastor who's this on the usher board. You wouldn't believe how she was back in the day. But the truth be told, a lot of women during the 60s and 70s that was very promiscuous and whorish and had Jezebel tendencies, a lot of them ended up running to Christ to abandon the embarrassment and the disgrace of the legacy that they left for their children, their grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So a lot of women back then turned to religion as a means to escape pretty much like some women do today. And I will say this, there's nothing wrong with seeking deliverance from God. There's nothing wrong with restoring your life. But the issue is the mindset of thinking that once I turn my life over to the Lord, I don't have to acknowledge that I've been whorish, that I used to be with all type of married men. Let me tell you something. All of these older women that's in these church in their 70s and their 80s, that's in the choir and playing the tambourine and you know on the usher board. Make no mistake about it. A lot of religious women are running away from whorish past. Yes, I said it, and I know people are going to be angry about it. A lot of women run to religion to escape a reckless, whorish Jezebel past. Your grandmothers, if you sit up there and ask her how she really lived before she went to serving the Lord, she's not going to go there. And then some of these women get very offensive if you even bring up anything. I turned my life over to the Lord. The Lord dropped the charges. But what's wrong with sharing your testimony to younger women, to your granddaughters, so they can learn from your failures? What better way for them to learn than from their own great grandmothers or grandmothers who birthed their mothers? What better way to learn? My mother was very transparent with me about her past. And guess what? My mother has been very transparent with my daughter about her past. And this is the reason why, and it's not to brag because my daughter can stray and go a different direction, but this is the reason why she has not repeated what I have done and what my mom has done. Well, I didn't even repeat what my mom did because she schooled me to the game, and my daughter didn't repeat what me or my mother did because we schooled her to the game. This is why she's 22 and doesn't have any children or anything. My mom had 6 of us, and she's been married multiple times, and I've only been married one time and had my daughter just from my husband. So as you can see, the each generation has changed something. But it took my mother not being ashamed and embarrassed about her past and not acting like it didn't happen. And the reason why a lot of these young black women, these modern women are lost today, because their black mothers and grandmothers from the 60s, 70s, 80s is not sitting down and telling the truth. Ain't sitting down and saying, look, I was a floozy back then. We call it thoughts today. But back then they didn't use those terms. You was called a floozy. You was called a good time girl, you know. That was the clean version of calling you a 304 or a hoe or a thought, what they use today. So y'all are not being honest, and because you're not being honest, you're doing one of two things. This is the reason why a lot of young black women are lost today. Either you're one, acting like it never happened. In other words, not claiming your whorism, your whole facts record. You don't claim it because you are now saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. So now you don't feel like you have to be transparent with your whorish past. And guess what? If you're really spiritually delivered from something, ladies, you're not going to be embarrassed to admit it and put it out there. You're going to share it. Because when you know you've been truly delivered from something, no one can make you feel bad about your past. A lot of y'all would not talk about your past because you know truly you haven't been delivered from it. Listen, if I no longer do crack anymore, I can tell people, yeah, I used to do crack. Nah, don't get me wrong, I didn't do no crack now. I don't want nobody going around taking a clip of what I just said and posting it all over their content. Oh, Mocha admitted to doing crack. No, I'm just hypothetically speaking. I've never done drugs in my life. Not even weed. I haven't even smoked a cigarette. Okay? So, checkmate on that. If you know you've been delivered from something, you will admit that once upon a time, this was my struggle. You use your loss as a lesson and as a blessing to the younger generation. Same thing with you men. If you know you done been out here smashing multiple women and all the headaches you went through trying to have a relationship with your children because you knocked up all these bitter baby mamas, teach your sons. Teach your grandsons. Teach them. Preach to them. Listen, young man. Don't think your penis defines your masculinity. I had that same mindset and look where it got me. You got uncles and aunts all over the town for multiple women. You may even be dating one of your cousins because I was a wild man back in the days. I thought I was, Mr. Cat Daddy. That was the term back in the day. I thought I was a Mr. Cat Daddy. And I was getting all the cat I could get. And it was fun when I was young, but as I got older, I realized I have all of these different children being raised in different households. And as a man, I couldn't really discipline my children because all of them had different mothers that was raising them within their own way. We have to take our losses and use them as a lesson. And we're not doing that. So anyway, you have these women, who was raised in this era of either one, like I said, they're going to deny it and act like they never did it, or two, they're going to teach the next generation to celebrate it. Some of these women have not even turned to religion. They haven't turned to nothing that would at least make them attempt to want to change their ways and their morals. Some of them are still stuck in that same mindset of being a Jezebel back in the 60s and 70s. Yes, these are the grandmothers who we still see at the bar. At 70 years old, they're still at the bar. At 70 years old, they got their titties hanging out and the titties are hanging to their kneecaps. These are the ones who never let go of the Jezebel behavior. They got stuck in it. And guess what? If you get stuck in Jezebel behavior, you're going to teach your daughter, your granddaughters, and so forth that Jezebel behavior is acceptable. So a lot of these modern women are stuck in their immoral ways because of how a lot of them are being raised. Okay? If not that, there was a father in the home, but he was spineless. I hear men preach all the time. These women need to have a man in the household. That's the problem. Ain't no man running the house. It's a woman running the house. In many cases, a woman has to because some of these men were spineless. Some of your grandfathers were spineless. Some of your grandfathers was lazy. They felt like all they had to do was work. They didn't have to discipline no children. Come home from work, he takes off his hats, take off his work boots, and he goes straight in his man cave. And guess what? Kids knew, don't ask daddy for nothing, don't talk to him for nothing, because he was mean, unnurturing, unattentive, and grouchy all the time. All he wanted was his beer and his plate of food and to sit down in his lazy boy and watch his stories. A lot of y'all may not admit, some of y'all may have had grandfathers or fathers back then who you saw was unattentive. All he wanted to do was eat, sleep, and work, and smash your grandmama or your mama, whenever he's going through his moments. Excuse my squeaky chair, y'all. I'm taking up donations to replace my chair so y'all can stop hearing it squeak. But anyway, you can be a single parent and still have another parent in your household. You have, and believe it or not, that exists today. You got some women who doing it all while the man just work and he feel like once I pay the bills, that's it. I ain't got to do nothing else. I don't have to discipline. I don't have to alleviate the wife and say, okay, today I'm gonna just cook today. I'm gonna put some hot dogs on the grill so the wife can chill today. You got some men, hell, I work. I ain't doing shit else. Oh, well. It's the structure of family. So like I said, it's one or the other. Either it was just a mother doing all the raising, or there's a mother and a father in the household, but one parent is slacking. And there are some cases of which I've seen the fathers do everything and the mothers be lazy. But very rarely, do you see that? But it does exist. So I don't want to push this one narrative that it's only, when it comes to single parent households, it's only the women who do everything. Because I do know some sorry mamas where the men have to get up and cook and clean. Because you got some men that are pushovers. They let their wife dominate and run everything. Steve Harvey, but that's another subject. But anyway, going right along. So the way the way the families were structured has a lot to do with the mindset of these modern women. And even more so when welfare came into play, and child support. And child support was invented by the white woman, in case a lot of y'all did not know that. There was a white woman who invented child support. And matter of fact, I'm going to let you know her name, because I know a lot of you, some of you brothers ain't educated on it. And, I ain't got a problem letting you know, because I know everything is the black woman's fault. We always want something. We always looking for something. So, I didn't know that either myself, y'all. I just so happened was doing my research one day, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, how did this happen? How did this even start? And when I found out it was a white woman, I was surprised, because we never, I never heard anybody address it or talk about it. It's just like child support is an issue that black women started. And it's just very important that we get our education and understand how things develop before we go pushing all of these false narratives. Cynthia Osborne was her name. Cynthia Osborne. I had to pause and look it up. But yeah, so once child support and governmental assistance came into play, this is a no-brainer. That pretty much substituted the men, that took the place of men and husbands being in the households, because governmental assistance did everything that husbands are supposed to do. Provided food, provided shelter, and provided income for women. It took the place of husbands. That's what husbands are supposed to do. Husbands are supposed to provide. Husbands are supposed to make income. Husbands are supposed to put food on the table. Well, governmental assistance does all of that. But what a lot of women don't understand too is, just like, you had a man, a husband in the household that will control and regulate everything. That's pretty much what the government does. The government regulates everything. It regulates how much food stamps you get. It regulates how long you can live off of housing, because once all of your children turn of legal age, now the government has the right to say, I don't want to provide for you, I don't want to take care of you anymore. Also, the government not only supplies children with medical assistance, it also provides the single mother with medical assistance. Again, it takes the place of what the husband is supposed to do. Again, however, just like if a man decides he's tired of taking care of his family, he no longer wants to provide, government assistance has the right to do the same thing. They could put a plug at any moment. They could change the rules as they go and say, look, I've changed the laws. Now the new law is now after your child gets a certain age, I no longer have to give you Medicaid. I no longer have to provide you with housing. I no longer have to give you food stamps. So government assistance also has the power to walk away and still abandon you, just like these men have abandoned you. So that is the chance that you take when you become too reliable on government assistance. So when we started having these single households, what ended up happening was a lot of women either had to work, even those who was getting government assistance had to work, because let's face it, government assistance does not cover everything. There are some things you still have to pay for on your own. So some women took it upon themselves to get a job, which resulted in them never being home. And because there was no man in the household, this means the children are left unsupervised for a long extensive amount of hours. Okay, the average person works 8 hours. Not only that, a lot of these women, some of them, depending on the state's requirements for government assistance, some women cannot afford child care. Some women, even if they could afford child care, what they'll do is they'll let the oldest, who they feel is capable of keeping all of the siblings. That way, she doesn't have to spend extra for child care. So you have a lot of what they call it, latchkey children who have to raise themselves, which is risky in a sense because anything can happen depending on how the child is raised. If the child does not have discipline, doesn't realize they don't need to be letting all kind of people in and out of households and things of that nature, it can be a very risky thing. So a lot of these young women were raising themselves, and in some cases, with young women who raised themselves, some of them use that opportunity to become sexually active. With your mother being gone 8, 9, several hours at a time, some of these working women even working 2 hours, or you might have had a mom who didn't work at all but was getting government assistance. But guess what? She stayed in the streets, she stayed in the clubs, and she still wasn't home enough to supervise you. So it was one or the other. You either had the single mother who worked several little jobs on the outside to make ends meet, or you had one who didn't work at all, but she was never home. So you would think she was working, but no, she was out here working the clubs, working, trying to find her stepdaddy, whatever you want to call it. And for the most part, the children had to raise themselves. So whenever you have a lot of these, I would say unstable single mothers, because not all single mothers are unstable, but you have a lot of these unstable single mothers who would leave their children to themselves. And what will happen is a lot of them who have daughters, these daughters end up raising themselves. And the worst type of taught you could be is self-taught. That's one of the worst type of teachings. If you have to be in a position to actually teach yourself, to raise yourself, because we all need structure. We all need guidance. Now keep in mind, especially based on the environment you in, let's face it, the majority of the time, it may be a little better now because you have Section 8, you got it to where a lot of these women could stay in nice neighborhoods, like women who, like families who really work and support it, don't give government assistance. They have that option now, but it's a little tighter now, they're more stricter. But whatever the case is, when you're in an environment and you're living in low income housing, and let's face it, that's where majority, we're going to say all, again, I know it's exceptions to every rule, before somebody comes in the comment section, well, I've been raised in the projects and I'm an attorney, I'm a lawyer, my kids came out fine, whoop-de-woo, good for you. You were one of the few that beat the statistic. But we're not talking about minority, we're talking about majority. A lot of these modern women were raised in low income neighborhoods, which are very poverty stricken. You're in an environment in which you pretty much don't see any growth. Everybody is all about looking good, meaning wearing expensive sneakers, wearing expensive clothes, but yet everybody's living in a government subsidizing housing area. No one has a home. You even see people living in subsidizing housing in which there are nice cars with rims on it. People have brand new 2023s with new tags and stuff on it, but yet they're living in housing. They're brand new cars, they're Dodge Chargers, they're 2023 Toyota Camrys and Hyundais or whatever. It's parked in the low income housing apartment complex. So it's this mindset of just looking good, putting your money into looking good, but not putting your money into establishing a solid future in which you don't have to live in housing for the rest of your life. That is the mindset of those that are poverty stricken. Notice I didn't say black people, I said poverty stricken, because not all black people have the poverty mindset. I know many who did live in housing, who did live in the ghetto or live in the projects, banked up their bread and moved out and live in a decent neighborhood because they too were raised in the projects, and they wanted to break that generational curse. They didn't want to continue that. Now you have a lot of these modern women, as y'all say. Some of them are going in fourth generation, still living in housing. The great grandmother lived in housing. The grandmother lived in housing. The mother raised her children in housing. Now she's raising her children in housing, only to see her daughter is getting ready to raise her children in housing. 4 generations. And I can name 2 or 3 families, women I know personally. 4 or 5 generations going in, growing up in governmental housing. And let's not make no mistake about it. You also have these black males. Their daddy lived with their mama. They living with their mama. And now their child living with their mama. Not only do you have black women taking advantage of governmental housing, but you got what's called these builder bums who intentionally target women who live in housing because they know women who live in housing get governmental assistance, and they're also aware that some of these women they rent don't be no more than $20 and $25. You have some men who intentionally target single mothers. And I'm starting to notice that's becoming a trend. You have a lot of young men that are only not even in their 20, not even 25. And a lot of them are with young girls who already have children. They didn't even have their first child yet. Because a lot of these young men who are not independent, who don't have any self-esteem, they will get with a woman who has her own house, not understanding it's governmental housing. He'll think he got a queen, he'll got a prize because this woman seems self-sufficient. She got her own house, she got her own car, she getting plenty of food stamps to where he's able to come over there and chill with her and eat lobster steak and crabs and stuff, and not understand that a lot of the things she's providing him is coming through the government. And you have some men who are very well aware of this, and they intentionally only target single mothers because they know single mothers are desperate and looking for a stand-up stepdad that's going to pick up where the other bum niggas done left off. So as much as you have a lot of these male consecrators that want to trash and thrash black women, at the same time, a lot of them themselves are checking for single mothers. Because single mothers are easier to get compared to single women. Let's just keep it 100. Single women who got their own house, got their own jobs, got their own careers, their standards are going to be higher. And in many cases with single mothers, not all, if it doesn't apply, you don't have to reply. In most cases, single mothers are willing to lower the bar, lower the standards, because they are already aware there's this narrative that's being pushed that if she has multiple children from different men, if she already has children from men that she's never been married to, never been in a relationship with, it's already this narrative that's been promoted that evidently she has hit the wall or she's discarded. You know, she's a recall product. So women that are single mothers have already been depreciated in value as far as the black community is concerned. So what's been going on is you have a lot of these bum ass dudes, not black men who are responsible, who don't mind paying their bills. You have a lot of these, you know, low common denominator dudes who will intentionally target a single mother because he knows she's already being supplied everything through governmental housing, and that eliminates him having to step his game up a lot and provide everything because the government is doing that. And you have a lot of these single mothers that are so desperate, they're willing to fall prey to these type of dudes who prey on single mothers because, again, they want a substitute daddy. They want to move these, you know, these dudes into their governmental house, move them into the project, thinking that's going to alleviate them because they're going to have somebody helping with their children. Only for this Negro to move in her governmental housing, and he's taking advantage. He's just there because he knows that she's desperate enough just to want a man around. He's not threatened or worried about having to get a job to prove himself, that to prove his worth to her and her children. All he has to do is prove that I'm willing to stand around. You got some women that have become so desperate raising children by themselves, they just want a man who gonna be around, even if he ain't doing shit, as long as he around. Cause the fact that all her other baby daddies abandoned her, a man doesn't really have to prove his worth. He just have to prove that he'll stay. It done got so bad, all a man has to do is just stay. Even if you don't contribute to a bill, even if you don't contribute to the children by being a father figure. And whose fault is this? It's the desperate, notice I said desperate, it's the desperate, low self-esteem single mothers who will tolerate this time of nonsense from this type of men who capitalize off of their vulnerability or stupidity. Because saying vulnerable, I don't like using the word vulnerable because that's like a empathetic, a sympathetic way of trying to make these women feel sorry for themselves. No, we're going to say stupidity. A lot of these bum, low common denominator dudes will capitalize off the single mother's desperation and stupidity. She don't mind if he not paying the bill. Even though he up there drinking up all the kids' Capri Suns off of her food stamps that she puts groceries in the house. Even though he's eating all the shrimp and the lobster. Warming up, microwavable pizza while she works all day. While her kids at school. But yet, she has to come home and still cook. She has to get up in the morning, get all her kids dressed. He ain't there to do all that. He ain't there to be a help. He's there to be a hindrance. She don't mind because he's around, unlike the other baby daddies who abandoned them. But even after a while, it becomes a strain because she feels the burden. When you have an extra adult in your household that's eating up way more than your children, whose clothes you have to wash, who's burning power all day because you at school, your kids at school, and you at work, he's there all day running the lights, running the water. Your bill's going to keep escalating. After a while, him just being around is not enough. And guess what? These are some of the sisters who y'all run into who have the attitudes. These are the same sisters who you run into who's combative and want to fight. So irritable. You know why? Because she got a Triscuit bum ass nigga that's living off of her, wearing her out mentally and financially. But instead, she wants to punch somebody at Waffle House who messed up on her omelet or her waffle, when really she's angry about the fact that she lowered herself so low to where she let this bum ass dude move in on her and use her and her kids. A lot of black women are angry and vicious because they allowed a dude, a low common denominator dude, to simp them. That's the reason why a lot of them are angry. That's the reason you go to McDonald's with that sister who has the attitude. She tired of working. She mad she got to work because that bum baby daddy. And some of them is not just random dudes. Some of them, these are their baby daddies who they have children from. And it's the stigma of, I don't want to be a single mother. I want to stay with my baby daddy so nobody can say I don't have a family. You got them kind too now. You can't give props to all black women because they got a family or they with their baby daddy, because truth is, that's all they are, with their baby daddy. He ain't with her on the bills. He ain't with her on raising and taking care of the children. He leaves all of that on her. You have a lot of black women who feel pressured to stay in unhealthy relationships just so they're not viewed as another single woman who evidently is not worth being kept because she's by herself. Because if she was worthy, why she ain't got a man with her? So you got all of these pressures of trying to prove that you're different from the average black woman. So you have this type of women who raising daughters. You got daughters who witness their mothers getting used, witnessing broke down Billy sit on their mama's sectional sofa every day. And in some cases, it could be even worse, that he may end up being a pedophile pookie. We all know the majority of these crimes that are going on with children getting hurt children getting molested, daughters being sexually assaulted, is because of these pedophile pookies who they are moving into the households. See, some of these females have already been embraced to ratchet or thought culture in the early beginnings due to the fact that their innocence was tampered with by a poverty pookie, a pedophile pookie who their mama let move into their home. So either pedophile pookie introduced her to immoral sexual behavior because her mother so desperately wanted a step dummy to supposedly become like a father figure to her children. So she entrusted him to be in her residence for several hours at a time with her daughter, which we know these young women are overly developed, got the bodies of women, and you got pedophile pookie scoping your daughter, watching her not understand that you have to dress a certain way when you're around a man because you don't want to arouse them, you know. And if the mother is starting it up herself, she's not going to be able to identify with her own child and see if she's carrying herself inappropriately, because she doesn't carry herself inappropriately. You can't school your daughter on things that you don't even know. So either she's been introduced to either the pedophile pookie introduced her to immoral sexual behavior, fondling with her, having sexual relations with her while her mother's going to work for hours at a time, only for her mother to come home and be so happy to be booed up with pookie pedophile while her daughter is suffering in silence, wanting to tell her mother, hey, I don't like what this man does to me when you're gone, because she either knows her mama is going to go ham on her, or either she's just going to be oblivious to it. So she just doesn't want that kind of heat, you know. Or if it's not the pedophile pookie, she's indulging in immoral sexual behavior herself because she's living in the hood, in low subsidizing housing where there's nothing but pookies who surround that area. And if your mother has not taught you that there's a different breed of men who you should attract yourself to, who you should dress a certain way to attract them, behave a certain way to attract them, she will most likely act like a Peaches and Nene, which Peaches and Nenes attract themselves to pookies and Ray Rays. Most likely, she's going to be drawn to the pookies in low-income housing or the projects, because that's where she lives. And guess what? It doesn't take much for Pookie to stand out or to win her over if he wears nice sneakers, he knows how to dress, even though he's living with his mama in housing too. He's living in the hood too. He doesn't have a pot to piss in or one to throw it out of. But if your ratchet mama has never introduced you to other areas, has not introduced you to the suburbs, has not introduced you to the country or other areas, just because you live in the hood does not mean you got to be confined to the hood. Doesn't mean you can't drive your kids around and show them other parts of the state in which you live in. Drive them, you know, if you don't scare the white people, drive them through the gated community. Drive them through nice suburban areas so they can see there's more to life than just housing. Let them see the pretty grass. Let them see the pretty lawns. Unlike the projects where you just see sidewalks and porches. Introduce them and expose them to other things so they don't normalize that all we know is the hood, so we got to be hood since we live hood. So she's exposed to all of these pookies who roam and walk around. And if she has that hood mindset, most likely she's only going to look at the man's physical attributes, what he wears, how good he looks. Not realizing that once she starts hooking up with this pookie who lives in the projects just like her, because that's the only opposite gender that she's exposed to. So as a woman, you're going to want attention at some point in time. You're going to seek it from the opposite sex. And if the only opposite sex that she's exposed to are project pookies, that is who she's going to be drawn to. And guess what? Let's say if she's exposed to other men when she goes out with, with her friends, or she goes on school trips and meets other men who can have the potentials of introducing her to another world, she's not going to know how to receive him. Because her ratchet mama never taught her how to conduct herself or hold a conversation with men other than Project Pookies. So when the Project Pookie aims his shot at her, talks to her, tell her how pretty she is, because she's not used to hearing that, it ain't going to take much for him to get the draws. Why do you think a lot of these young modern women who live in the projects, why a lot of them got 3, 4, 5 little Pookies from different Pookies within the projects? Because it didn't take much for the Project Pookie to make her feel validated, because her mama didn't put it in her. And she's never been exposed to other type of environments. Listen, I put my daughter in summer camp where she could be exposed to white kids as well, white boys and white girls. Everything don't just have to be black and hood. Why black women just want to keep exposing their children to the black environment. You putting them in all the low income programs, which is predominantly made for black kids. So therefore, your children will only be exposed to black kids. The cheap little summer camps, you're going to see black kids there. The cheap little sports and stuff, you're going to see black kids there. I get it. That's all you could afford. But sometimes you have to make that extra sacrifice. Expose them to other cultures. To ballerina, where you know it's going to be white people, white kids there. Expose them to Girl Scouts. Expose them to anything to where they're not just being subjected to just dealing with their own kind. These are the modern women today who don't know how to conduct themselves in front of other cultures or other races, is because their mamas have kept them in all the low income programs, which are only specifically designed just for black kids. Sometimes you got to sacrifice and branch out. Hell, you decide to have all these children, branch out, put them in karate. There's a white instructor, there's a white karate instructor, there's a Korean or Asian. Why they got to only be subjected to black programs with black people? Because that's all you could afford. This is the reason why black women don't need to be having multiple children, because you can't afford to give them the best. And I ain't saying this is the case for all black women. I know some black women who got several kids and she done spent way more money on all 6 or 7 of theirs than I done did on my one. Hats off to you. I commend you. To the black women who are not afraid to go all out and spend every dime, if that means she got to sacrifice not getting her hair done, not buying a lace wig. I commend you. But you have a lot of these, some of these low profile, sisters who want to sit up here and have multiple children, be able to benefit off of all of their kids through housing and child support, but their kids don't get the benefit off of them. They got to be subjected to low income summer camp, low income child care, where it's nothing but a bunch of other black kids. Hell, that's the same as being in the projects. What's the purpose of putting in a program or introducing them, putting them in a low income? You might as well stay in a... You might as well not even waste your time doing that, because you already live in the projects. Nothing but black kids they play with. Nothing but black kids they see. But you're going to put them in black programs because it's free. And ain't nothing but black kids going to be up in there. And if that's all you can afford to do, that's fine. But every once in a while, put your kids where there's other cultures. In a little baseball league where there's white, Mexican, and Asian or whatever. If you only expose your kids to black, they're going to stay black and act black. They ain't going to know how to conduct themselves when they get in different environments. When they become adults and got to deal with these folks in high positions. All they know how to do is act ghetto, talk ghetto, be ghetto, because you expose them to nothing but the ghetto. So if the daughter is not, like I said, getting tried or fundled with, her innocence is not being tampered with by pedophile Pookie, who mom leaves there all day, she's going to find it from a poverty Pookie in the projects. He's going to give her attention because in her mind, it looks like he has a lot because he dresses nice. and he wears a little bit of jewelry. Not understanding he's in just as much poverty as she is in. Only difference is he's able to dress nice. Why? Because he might be a little dope boy. Maybe a little weed man. He get a little tiny little cut, just enough to wear like he got a lot, and then she wonders why when she has a child from him, he's not able to provide and she got to put him on child support. He never had no money like that. But all of this has to do with your mother not teaching you any better. So you have a lot of these young women out here, you know, who have embraced this ratchet mindset of all I got to do is have children, look good, buy hair bundles, you know, constantly exploit myself on social media, cause I've been taught that attention is more important than respect. And that is the problem with the black women within our black community, is that everybody has become addicted to attention. Attention is the new drug for broken black women. Notice I said broken black women. I didn't say black women, because that means I'm putting everybody in the same box. It's a lot of broken black women who need attention like they need medication. Attention is the new medication. You see it every day, all day. On social media. They got to show their titties. They got to show their ass. They got to... black women always feel it's necessary to show their... They put it this way. Black women, broken black women, think the only way they can seek validation is by advertising themselves. I didn't say advertising like a commercial. AD, advertising, ADVERTISION. Y'all know how that go. I can't spell. I'm hooked on phonics. Even with 3 master's degrees. No, 2 master's degrees. I still can't spell worth a damn. They're not advertising. They're ass-vertising. Only showing ass because, truth be told, a lot of young women have been taught that is their only quality. They have not been taught to use their brains, and you wonder why some of you men, and I have to say, some of it is y'all fault, because y'all got these women believing, some of these broken women believing, long as they got a big ass and big titties, that's all they have to contribute. I've heard men over and over contradict themselves and say they want a woman who got a brain, a good head on her shoulders, but at the same time, these are the same women who they will smash on their women who are smart, on their women who are intelligent. They won't wife these kind of women, but they'll take a chance and a gamble and will have sexual escapades with these type of females, only for them to find out that they dealing with a stalker or a female who has an elevator that doesn't go all the way up. So a lot of these broken females who lack self-esteem, who lack integrity, they know that they can always bait a simple man just by simply doing advertising. They know that. These same dudes that try to do all this preaching and teaching about stay away from these modern women. Yes, these are the same men who are smashing these females that they tell other black men to stay away from. They tell you, don't have nothing to do with these women. Don't raise these single mothers. Well, the truth is, some of them are single mothers because a lot of you guys fell prey to the advertisement, smashed them, not using no protection. Now you're going around hating all black women and saying all black women are users. Well, you put yourself in a position to be used. And some of y'all did it more than once. Ain't like you got once and you learned your lesson and you ain't get caught up again. Some of you men have 4, 5 baby mamas and you still around here bitching and complaining about how all black women ain't SHIT. Y'all are doing what black women who lack accountability do. It's everybody's fault but yours. The black community is all about, I don't want to own nothing. I don't want to take accountability for anything. So you wonder why the thought culture is embraced, because we've been embracing immorals. We've been embracing lack of integrity. And the biggest thing is lust. Lust has become the biggest demise of the black community. You have many men and women who know that they are not equally yoked, and yet will still take each other to bed and have sexual relations. You can look at this woman and tell she's filth by all the tats on her body, all the tongue rings and nose rings. You see her advertising with booty shorts showing her booty cheeks, and yet you don't have enough integrity for yourself and your penis. You lack discipline, not discipline. You lack discipline, and you go and hit it anyway, only to find out within the 5-minute frame of a moment, now this broad is pregnant. And even though you might have used protection, things still happen. Lust is the biggest cancer of the black community. I cannot begin to imagine and tell you how many black men and black women have had sexual relations knowing they were not equally yoked, knowing there was no chemistry, knowing there was no real connection other than the spirit of lust. Listen, animals got more sense than human beings. You would never see a frog trying to mate with a doggone with the snake. You will never see that. You will never see a horse try to mate with a cow. You'll never see that. You'll never see, a pig try to mate with a lamb. Animals have enough sense to know that that animal is not compatible with me. You're not going to see an elephant and a giraffe in a zoo trying to smash. You know what? That giraffe is going to go to a giraffe to create a giraffe. A cow is going to mate with a cow to create a cow. An elephant is going to create with an elephant to procreate an elephant. But yet you got human beings with all this knowledge and all this technology, all this education. You're going around smashing people that are nowhere equally on the same page as you physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. And you wonder why you have children who come here with autism and all kind of problems, because believe it or not, your baby daddy, your baby mama is not equally yoked. Y'all were not designed to create a child, which is why that child comes here with all kind of problems. I know y'all ain't ready for this conversation. It's deep and I'm going to offend some people. Ain't nothing wrong with that child. It's the spirit of two unequally yoked individuals have implanted in that one child. And that's why this child is lost and confused and acting out and doing weird things, because both of their parents was not equally yoked. How good she looked, how good he looked. You think your child gonna have pretty hair or pretty eyes? What about that spirit? That the spirit of that man may be contaminated. The spirit of that woman may be contaminated. And you conceive a child and they come up with all these damn medical terms, autism and all this carrying on. And it's not the child's fault. They didn't ask to be here. And thank God there's programs that help children who have this type of issue. Because the truth is, the parents who created the children, they ain't even figured it out yet what's the problem. And this is not to say that married people didn't have the same issue. Just because you're married, you'll be surprised. Everybody has different genes and genetics that don't equally mix with others. This is why when you get involved with people, you look into their family tree. Do your research on their mental illnesses. You go to family cookouts, you go to a family event, you see the daddy her father act a little off. The woman who may end up being a mother of your child, look at how her mother is. Does the mother act a little off? Does her mom, her father act a little off? Does she have a sister or a brother that acts a little off? And I'm not saying that you should completely eliminate somebody because of certain things, but do your research. Make sure this is something you're willing to take on, or you're really able to deal with full time, permanently. Because once y'all have a child together, that's it. So you have a lot of these immoral traits that have been passed on, and that is why the ratchet culture is so widely embraced. Once you open one door for one thing, that means you're opening doors to everything else. And it's like a ball rolling down the hill. You can't stop it. You can't eliminate it. And this is the reason why it has transcended into music. You're seeing women now that are only feeling that they could gain notoriety and fans through being explicit. Even women who were always very conservative, like Janelle Monáe, the twins Chloe and Bailey, and all of these women that once upon a time was carrying themselves with respect and dignity and grace. Now you're starting to see them get more outlandish. Why is it every woman now that's a singer or performs has to be wearing something up their ass? They performing with in a lingerie now. Things that only their husband should be seen in the bedroom. Why is it these women today are so comfortable with being on stage in front of millions? And not to say that a woman shouldn't be proud of her body, but how come every time you perform as a singer like Beyonce, it has to be ass out? Why you always have to wear a bikini? Why somebody always has to see your physical attributes? What happened to just being able to just sing and display your talent? And unfortunately, the ratchetness is the new talent. If you want to be noticed, you got to be a Krishan Rock. You got to be combative. You got to be messy. You got to be a Jocelyn Hernandez. These are the people now who really have no talent. They're talentless. Or maybe they have talent, but the problem is their ratchetness has overseeded their talent, so it's looking like they're talentless. And it stems from, basically all of this starts from home. All of this started from the generation back in the 60s and the 70s. And guess what? Jocelyn has a daughter. No disrespect to Bonnie, but if Jocelyn does not see the generational curse that she had to endure, and she even spoke on this. She cried about her childhood. She cried about how hard she came up with her and her mother not having a healthy relationship. If she don't put a stop to that, it's going to repeat with her and her daughter. And she is not the only one. It's several of them out here. You have these rappers like Cardi B, Sukiana, who I would say is probably one of the grade D value when it comes to being a female rap artist. Because I don't even want to say hip-hop, because to me, hip-hop is just not hip-hop anymore. This is a whole different genre. It's called, I call it the ratchet, the ratchet. Like rap and the word ratchet. I'll say it's the ratchet. It's ratchet rap era. I'm not even going to put hip-hop. Hip-hop to me is Dawes Effects, LL Cool J, Wu-Tang, Bush Babies, Souls of Mischief. That's that era. Kool Moe Dee, all that's that hip-hop. I would say everything from probably the early 2022 all the way back to the 70s. I don't know. Everybody got their own opinions on that. But rap shit is the new era. And unfortunately, in order to become a successful female rapper, you have to be willing to degrade yourself. You have to be willing to exploit yourself. That is the deal that you have to make with the devil in order for you to sell your music. Because the internet done killed that. Anybody could download stuff now. Money now is being made through tours and people that's willing to be loyal and stream versus, downloading your music. But everything now is really based off of presentation. And honestly, not only that, the rap game for females have become color struck now. You have women that are lighter because of their complexion. They've been able to get through the door quicker than other female rap artists that haven't had to go to the extreme lengths in order to gain their success. Like back then, we had Missy Elliott, we had MC Lyte, women of all shades and color, salt and pepper. The thing was, as long as you can flow, long as you can dress and you had your own style, like Missy Elliott, even being a plus size woman at that time, she had her own style, which overshadowed her looks of not being able to fit that stereotype. She had that oomph and that catch that still made her stand out because she had her own style. Nowadays, the style is you have to be light skinned, or you have to be very raunchy with your performances, and you got to be willing to exploit yourself. If you're not willing to do that as a female to become a successful rapper, your career is not going to grow. It's not going to grow. It all kind of started with Little Kim and Foxy Brown. They started the raunchiness, but now it's at an all-time high now. Because even from time to time, Foxy Brown and Lil' Kim, they would switch it up and they would dress in regular baggy jeans and stuff now. You're not going to catch that. Everything is all about wearing bikinis, wearing stuff up your ass and showing your titties. You got to be explicit in order for your records, for your music to be relevant. And that's just part of the game. The ratchet culture is at an all-time high. It's in everywhere now. It's in the music industry. It's in the acting industry, reality shows now. In order for you to get relevance, you have to be ratchet. It's called ratchet relevance. Zeus Network is taking on shows like Jocelyn Cabaret, not because she's talented, but because she's ratchet. Black people, we have become the new minstrel show. If y'all remember back in the days when during the Jim Crow era, black people wasn't taken serious. Our talents was not really allowed to really be used and manifested. So you had white people who would paint themselves in a black face and act like they knew what we were, which was monkeys, which was idiots. We was a minstrel show back then. And they made fun of who we were and what we stood for. And if you're woke, you'll see it's the new millennium minstrel show, because that's what it is now, except white people don't have to dress as us and play the part as us. We do a great job by ourselves and acting like monkeys, being ratchet, being silly, being clowns. We played the part very well of that on our own now. They started the tone, and guess what? We're still finishing it and we're continuing it. Especially black women. We have become the new minstrel show. Why are we always casted to reality shows? Because they know they have already adopted this persona that we are ratchet, we are angry, we are combative, we are quick to fight. That is why they are quick to sign us on and let us do reality shows. You have the alphabet mafia. You have the alphabet community. People like Carlos King. Let me say this appropriately. You have these baristas, men who pretend to be women or whatever, these black male baristas who are part of the alphabet mafia, who already have a disdain for us as black women. Then you have the transformers who already have a disdain for us as black women because they want to be black women. So they're now taking us under their wing, and they are having us to do reality shows for them. They're casting us to become a part of their brand because they already have this stigma that we are drama filled, we are troublesome, and we have an offense filter in which we will go off, we will snap. Unfortunately, the society sees black women as fitting that bill, and the sad part is there's not enough sisters that are woke to understand you don't have to play into the game just because they see you as being a part of that game. You don't have to be on every reality show. You don't have to collab with every other Ratchet female rapper just so you can continue to stay relevant. But money has become the root of all evil. So on that note, you have a lot of women that are willing to degrade themselves and play the part as the bitter Ratchet black women in order to keep profiting off of these shows, off of these networks. But what they're not realizing, in the long run, somewhere they're going to get blackballed. Somewhere it's going to come back to haunt them as they get older. And now you want to make a different direction in life. You want to change. You want to do things different. The problem is you have set that tone. And now that you want to change it, people are still not going to respect you for the new respectful black woman you want to be when you get older and you look back and you see, why, you know what, I don't even know why I was wilding out like that. But how you feel in your 20s, you're going to feel different in your 40s. What you feel in your 40s, you're going to feel different in your 60s. If you look at your life now, if you look back and see the things you did at the age of 16 and 18, knowing what you know now and the knowledge you have now, you totally would do things different. And that is probably the reason a lot of you are doing things different, because you learned from the things you did when you were 16, 17, 18. So all of these women right now, like Sukiana, Jocelyn, all of these women who have embraced and adopted the Ratchet culture, keep in mind that sooner than later, when life takes a different turn, they may get to that place where they want to leave that bad seed they planted for themselves behind. And guess what? The industry isn't going to let them. Once you don't mark yourself, once you don't mark that territory of being a Ratchet black woman, guess what? They're going to keep you right there. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to get ready to shut it down. I know it's been pretty long, but it's been a while since I did some content for y'all. So nevertheless, it is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Don't forget, I do sell cable, 9,000 channels. Anybody that's interested, I'm going to leave the commercial behind so you get the information to check it out. Y'all be blessed, and don't forget to hit that like button. Take care. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is Lady Mocha, your favorite content creator, well, one of your favorite content creators. Just thought that I would do a small presentation on my cable app known as Expresso Streams. So I know a lot of people have been inboxing me, hit me up, needing additional information pertaining to the app, pertaining to my cable app. So I thought it just would be better if I actually uploaded and did a video pertaining to the cable app and all of what it consists of, in case you have any additional questions or concerns. So let's get right into it. So nevertheless, as you can see, this is my widescreen TV, and I already have my Fire Stick inserted in the back. So like I said, for anybody who's interested in my cable, you can either purchase a Fire Stick from me, which is $65 plus shipping. Keep in mind that it will already come loaded with the cable app, so that's less work for you to do. So if you're not technology savvy, if you don't have a lot of patience, if you're not good at enabling settings and things of that nature on your actual Fire Stick, save yourself the headache and just purchase a Fire Stick from me. That way you don't have to do nothing, absolutely nothing, but plug it in your TV. And once you do that, this is what you're going to get. You're going to have the app already loaded there on there for you, which is my IPTV app. Now, if you are pretty high-tech savvy and you pretty much know what you're doing, you know how to load Fire Sticks, and you're pretty good at that, then you could actually just request the download app instructions from me, and then I will email them to you. That way you can upload the app on your own with your own Fire Stick if you already know how to load apps and if you're pretty good with, being technology savvy. But for those of you who are not, don't worry, everybody does not have the patience or the knowledge to be able to deal with technology. Just buy a stick. So this is what we're going to do. So my app is already loaded into my stick. We're going to go directly to IPTV Smartest app. And for those of you who already have a Fire Stick and you don't want to have to buy one from me, this is where you're going to need the instructions from me on how to install my IPTV Smartest app. Okay, so as you can see, we have live TV, we have movies, and we have series. Okay, now you can get up to as many lines as you want. Basically, the way that it works, because I have people asking me, well, what kind of packages do you have? It's not so much packages. It practically has to do with how many lines you want. Don't matter if you get one line. Well, you automatically going to get 2 lines. But any line you get is automatically going to come with 9,000 channels. So starting with the live TV, just to give y'all a little preview of what we have. I always start with USA Entertainment. I always tell my customers to start there because there's just so many things on this app, y'all. There's just no way in the world I'm going to be able to go through every tiny channel we have. Is just very time consuming. So as you can see, this is and it depends on your internet speed. You do need at least 25 megabytes or higher to get good quality internet. So if you got a bunch of devices running, or if you got that slow, cheap internet, you're going to be scrolling and loading for a long time. So please invest in good internet so you'll have good streaming quality. I've had people who have gotten my app realize that it's doing a lot of freezing. It keeps scrolling, thinking it's my app, and come to find out it had nothing to do with my app. They had internet speed that was in the teens, 15, 13, and I'm like, no wonder your streaming is so pathetic. So listen, to much is given, much is required. You got to get the real internet, not that dial-up mess and none of that, or else you're going to get poor streaming quality. All right, so these are just a sample of some of the channels I got. I got a lot. I got pretty much like several different stations of one channel, but I'll go into that as we get into this. So like for instance, I have 2 hers, BET her channel. That's the BET channel for women. So I got 2 of those, and the reason why we have 2 or 3 of certain things is because if one acts up or one is having a hard time that day, you can just automatically go to the next one. Okay, so it does happen every once in a while. No different than Netflix, no different than Hulu. When it comes to streaming, it has its moments. So need not to worry. We have a backup of every channel that we have. So I have all the BETs, the Bravos. Going to this Bravo here. Like I said, I'm not going to go through every single thing. It's just way too many to name. As you can see, once you click on the show that you want to watch, you will get a full screen. But we're going to back out of that. So we're just going to go down some more. So I'm going to get out of here. As y'all can see, we have the Court TVs. We have Discovery. We have a little bit of everything for family, husbands, children. For those of you who got kiddies out there, grandkids, let me tell you, they're getting bored with this Netflix. They're getting bored with the same thing over and over and over. Yes, we got Blue's Clues. We got Blueys. We got all this other special kids channels. I don't have any little ones, so I don't know what they're watching now. But we got the SpongeBob. We got a little bit of everything. Listen, only 9,000 channels for $25 a month. You can't beat that. Now, the only way the prices rack up a little bit is if you want extra lines. If you just want 2 lines, it's $25. If you want 4 lines, it's $35. If you want 3 lines, it's $30. So it just depends on how many lines you want. You may just be comfortable with just 2 lines. Now, keep in mind, for how many TVs you want, that's the amount of lines you want. So if you got 5 TVs, you're going to want to get 5 lines, okay? If it's just you and your husband and 1 child or something, or, you may be able to work with 2 lines. So we got the adult tunes here, adult cartoons like Futurama, Beavis and Butthead and all of that. I don't have to show all of that. ESPN, for those of you who got men in your household who love sports, you got a sports fanatic. You may be a sports fanatic yourself. You got some women who are really into all of the different sports, and if it's not a live sport, it's not going to show. That's another thing, y'all. If it doesn't show, it's because it's a live event that either hasn't started or is over with. It does not mean something's wrong with the channel. Now, you got NFL, you got NBA, you got MLB, double NCAA basketball. I also got all the news channels. I have a lot of people who hit me up about that. Yes, you will get your news channel within the state in which you live in. I live here in Savannah, Georgia, and yes, my cable does come with Savannah, Georgia. So if you live in Los Angeles or Colorado or Jacksonville, yes, we have your local cable stations, okay? And if you can't get it, I'm going to throw an extra app on there. That way you will have access to your local news stations. Because I get it. A lot of us are into the news, or we have parents or senior citizens who want to, be up to date with the news. So I have that as well. Now, let me get to some other stuff that I may have not mentioned to y'all. Now, this is one of my, let me get to this one. Premium movies, okay? So for all of y'all who are paying these separate apps for Stars and Cinemax, you spending a lot of unnecessary money when all you have to do is spend $25 a month. And that way you can get your Stars, Cinemax, and then some. Look at all these Cinemaxes I have, okay? Good quality movies, good quality streaming, nothing raggedy, nothing choppy. It looks just like any other authentic cable provider. We don't have no Section 8 bootleg, nobody walking across the screen, none of that going on. Okay, so all these Cinemaxes, I'm not going to count them all. There's different ones, East, Action Max, blah, blah, blah. Not going to go through all that. MGM, they just added that. I didn't even see that until today. So they keep adding more stuff on here, y'all. And that's the great thing about this kind of cable app. We don't take away. We just keep adding and adding and adding. I never even knew we had an MGM, but learn one now. We got all the HBOs. Check this out, y'all. I got all the HBO comedy, HBO family, HBO zone. All this for $25. How much you paying on your cable right now? $150, $200, $175. Let's keep it moving. Look at all these Showtimes. I didn't see that. Showtime plus BET. I didn't even know no such thing exists. It's just so much stuff on here, y'all. I can't even watch all this stuff. Ain't no way. Only $25 a month. Showtime for women. Look at all these stars. Look at all these stars. Come on now. $25. This ain't no joke. This is legit. Encore. All this is just premium. I can't even keep up, y'all. I can't even keep up. Let me keep scrolling down. Yeah, so that's all the premium. Now, this is this is another little feature. A lot of y'all may like it, don't care about it. But this is called the relaxation channel, where you can just like listen to the ocean view music and things of that nature. So we got that. Now, let me let y'all in on one of my personal favorites. I'm an old school chick, okay? So I'm into the 24/7 classics category. And it shows like a lot of the old school, like Beverly Hills and stuff. Now, every once in a while, if there's a problem, let's say if it's showing something that is not supposed to show, just inbox me and say, Mocha, I went to Beverly Hills and it's showing me the Golden Girls. It does happen every once in the blue moon, not a lot. It happens once in a while. Inbox me so I can hit my team up and we can correct it. So if you go to one of your favorite channels and something is out of order or it's not working, please be specific. Let me know the category. Let me know the name of the show. And please be specific with what's wrong. Let me know there's no audio. Like in other words, there's no sound. Or if you hear a bad sound, say you can tell me there is audio, but it's a lot of staticking. You got to be specific so we can correct the issue. Now, it has Family Matters. This is the classics ones, y'all. Judge Judy, Leave It to Bieber, Living Single, meaning it shows nothing but that 24/7. So if you are a Living Singles fan, right, and that's all you like to watch or whatever, then we'll go to, okay, so Living Single, okay, is acting right. So it'll show Living Single episodes 24/7 if that's all you want to watch. Same thing with Martin. Same thing with My Wife and Kids. I love me some Sanford and Son, okay? So I can watch that all day. I got my TV on Sanford and Son all day and it not even bother me. Now, let's say if you got a business, you got a salon, you a real estate agent, whatever. You have clients, more so places like barbershops. If your husband got a barbershop business or something, he wants cable in there to keep his customers entertained. Instead of him paying for $100 something a month, all he has to do is get a Fire Stick for me and pay $25 a month. That have all of this 9,000 channels. Okay, so if you got a business and you want to keep your customers occupied and you want to save some money, hit me up and get a Fire Stick, 9,000 channel. Look, we got the Cosby Show, y'all. We got the Cosby Show. We got Brady Bunch. We got the Jamie Foxx Show. All of this is the 24 hours. So this one is my favorite. I stay on this one more than anybody, more than any of the categories. So that's probably why I be missing out on, you know, all of these new things that's coming on here. And I love Good Times, okay? I be watching Good Times 24/7. So we got the Sports Center, like I said, for all of you who got husbands, who got boyfriends, who are sports fanatics. I got your husbands, I got your baby daddy, I got them covered. All of this stuff here, I'm not going through all that NASCAR, volleyball. We just got it all, okay? I just got it all. We got Peacock here. So Peacock, I think it's some type of event, or I don't know, hell. But anyway, we got it. And the other things, in case I'm missing out. Oh, we got live pay-per-view events. So guess what? When those live events come to your house or whatever, on HBO, whatever, you don't have to pay for that. It automatically comes with your package. Yes, the UFCs, all the boxing events, championships. There's no need of me clicking on them because there's no live events, so you're not going to see anything. But whenever there's a live fight, a championship, you're automatically going to get it, okay? So you'll be good on that. You ain't got to pay no extra money. You ain't got to go to nobody's house and pay no admission fee. What else we got going on here? So it's just so much to offer. That's my live TV. I'm going to come up out of that because I want to try to, I think I'm over. Yeah, I'm over 10 minutes. There's so much to cover. But all of these are the movies, okay? Not going to go through all them. As you can see, it's different sections: comedy, horror, mystery, all of that, documentaries. I got it all. Not gonna go through all that. It's just too many. You're just gonna have to wait till you get your Fire Stick and do your own navigating. Yes, I got all the current series. Everything you could think of, I have. Let me see. All of the whatever current series they have out right now, we have all of that. Not going to go through all of it. If there's a certain show you want to know about and you want to know if I have it, just inbox me. It's just too many to try to go through. It's just too many. It's just, look, it's 3,000. It's over 3,000 series in this just this category alone. So ain't no way I'm going to be able to go through all that. Classic shows, again, I'm a retro show watcher. So for all of your classic, my old school people, old school shows, we got that too, okay? We got the kid shows, okay? We make sure we look out for the kiddies. We look out for the little ones. We got them too, or whatever. So we have all of this here. So just because you don't see the picture, it does not mean it does not work. We have different episodes, different seasons. So you get to pick whichever season you want to go to. So this is one of these shows. I don't feel like going all into that. Like I said, it's too much to cover. Okay, as you can see, all of it popped up. So sometimes you got to be patient. Give it a minute to load. And everything will show up. These are all the kiddie shows and everything. So, classic tunes, music videos. So I'm gonna come out of that. But as y'all can see, this is how you know when to pay your bill. It'll let you know when your cable is going to expire to the bottom. The way payments are made, you simply Cash App or Zelle me. You don't have to inbox me and let me know that you're going to make a payment. You don't have to email me and say, hey, I'm sending the payment. Just send the payment. I'll automatically turn it on. Once I receive that Cash App, I get it. Sometimes we forget. We mix dates. Don't worry about it. I don't charge late fees. That's the beauty about my cable app. I don't charge late fees. I don't charge reconnect fees. You just pay your $25 whenever you get the money, and we cut it on. Now, for those who Cash App or whatever, it will be an extra $2 for transaction fee. So although the cable is $25, send $27 if you Cash App. If you Zelle, you don't have to send no extra, just the $25. But for all Cash App payments, it has to be $27, an extra $2 for a transaction fee. But you still can't beat that, because at the end of the day, these cable companies, they want more. So any questions or concerns, I think I just about hit everything. Like I said, get as many Fire Sticks as you need per TV. If you know, most of the time y'all watch 2 TVs, get 2 Fire Sticks, okay? It'll be $25 for up to 2 lines. You got 3 TVs, a third TV you want to add in that, then that's another $5. So that'll be $30. You got 4 TVs, add another $5, that's $35. So that's pretty much the name of the game. Like I said, I can't do less than 2 lines. Some people may be like, well, all I watch is 1 TV. That's cool. If you know somebody else who got a Fire Stick, give them your information so they can use your second line. Maybe your son in college, your daughter on her job or whatever. You can take your Fire Stick with you when you go on vacation. That's the beauty. Also, take your cable with you. You're going on a cruise boat. You're going out of town, and sometimes these hotels, they don't have the best cable selections. Take your Fire Stick with you. You could take your cable where you go. Only thing I recommend is that you don't forget and leave your Fire Stick there, and then you got to purchase another one from me. But they're great to take with you. You go out of town, you're going on a cabin trip. You can take your cable with you. Sometimes you go visit your family. Everybody don't have cable. Take a Fire Stick with you. Now, this is the other thing. If you do recommend and send other people to me, I would knock $5 off of your cable for every customer that comes to me and actually buy it. So if you currently got cable with me and paying $25 right now, you send a friend and Kiki decides that she wants to buy my cable, I'm going to knock $5 off. Now you pay $20. Now you decide to send April to me and April wants to buy my cable, I knock off another $5. Now you pay just $15. So for everybody you send to me, I'm going to knock it all the way down to your bill gets to $10, and $10, that's the minimum payment. That's as low as I will go. So if you could bring a few people to me, guess what? Your 9,000 package is only be $10. You can't lose either way it go. So anyway, hopefully I answered the majority of everything, all of the questions, any concerns, certain channels, certain movies you would like to know about. You are welcome to email me, inbox me. But I wanted to do this presentation because a lot of people seem to be confused and not sure of how my cable really operates. So it has nothing to do with packages. It's a matter of how many lines you want. But either way, you're saving a lot of money. So hopefully This answers the majority of the questions, and I look forward to being your cable provider. Y'all have a blessed day. Talk with y'all soon.